Hey guys, welcome back. For those of you who have not met me, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Tamara. I am the owner and the founder of the beauty and travel blog Loverofshades.com. So today I wanted to do a different video. I'm not doing a beauty tutorial or even talking about like doing a traveling tutorial. I just want to talk about my world journey because it's something that I had completed as of last year. So for those of you who have not followed my journey or just now coming on board, just to give you a quick little back end story, I worked in corporate America in August 2016. I had quit my job, sold all my shit, packed the rest of my shit up, and literally traveled the world for 1 year. And I told myself I was going to do it for 1 year, and I was successful. I had been to, I want to say 20 countries, maybe 21, and I did that in the course of a year. And I had received a lot of questions since my return back to the States, which was in October of 2017. And I kind of want to do this video not just to talk about my journey, especially now since I have some time to reflect on it, but also to give some feedback for some very popular questions that I have been asked since my return. So there might be times that you see me looking down from time to time. That's just because I had to write things down so I won't forget. So please pardon that. But let's just get straight into it. So like I said, I think I've been to about 20, maybe 21 countries. I'm just going to quickly list them, and if you don't catch them, don't worry. I'll put it all in the description box below. So I went to Spain, Portugal, Czech Republic, and I had lived in Czech Republic, England, Germany, Iceland, France. Might be forgetting one in Europe, but that's what I remember so far. I went to Morocco, I went to Egypt, I went to Thailand, I went to Vietnam, and I actually lived in Vietnam for almost 4 months. I've been to Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. I've been back to Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, Australia, South Africa, and I've been to South Africa before, and this time I stayed in South Africa for 3 months. And then I went to Colombia, and I stayed in Colombia for 2 months. And then from there, I had came back to the States in August for 1 month just to, you know, catch up with friends and stuff like that and family. And then I went back to South America. So when I went back to South America, I went to Peru, Ecuador, back to Colombia, Panama, and then I ended my journey in Costa Rica. So as you could tell, I've been around. So overall now, since I had several months, almost a year to reflect on my experience, I'm actually glad I'm doing this video now. I felt like I should have done it before, but I think you would have caught it while I was going through it. And although I wish I would have recorded while I was traveling, I'm glad to do it now because there's so many things that you realize, like when you come back to your home country or your home turf after doing an extensive amount of traveling like that. So one of the main things that I've learned is, you know, a lot of humility, and not for any particular reason. It's just like being able to travel to other countries and seeing how other people live. I've been to places where people live much better than me, and I went to places where I saw people were living with less than what I had. And one of the biggest lessons that I had learned is you don't need a lot of things to be happy, because the reason why I say that is out of all the countries that I have visited, and I have been to other countries before my world journey, I realized that like the people, especially us in the States, we have so much shit, right? And we think that we need it, and a lot of us attach our identities to the amount of materialistic things that we have. However, being able to travel to other countries, seeing people with less than, sometimes extremely less than, but they're so happy. They're so happy. And I was just like, how does this work? and it just really comes down to it that you are not what you own. You are not what you have. Like, the most important things is your health, your happiness, your sanity, and your peace, and if you have those 4 things, then you're already blessed. And the simple fact that you're waking up in the morning every day, you're already blessed. So the rest of this stuff is going to be here. It was here before we were even born. It's going to be here after we leave. So that's one of the biggest lessons that I had learned. But I want to also tackle some questions that people have asked me. So I'm just going to go back and forth on what I've learned versus answering questions that people ask. So the main question that I was asked is, how in the hell could you afford to travel the world, especially for a year? And the truth be told is, it all comes down to you. And the reason why I say that is because I've seen people that had tons of money and they're traveling the world, and yeah, they're traveling, but they're not really experiencing, if that makes sense. And then I've seen people with less than me, and they've been to way more countries than I have. So the way I had money to travel the world is quite simple. I had saved up some money, but I knew that money wasn't going to take me very far. So what I did was I had to find a skill, and I said I have to do something else that while I'm out there I could, work and get money. So there's 2 things that I decided to do. The first one was to enroll in a TOEFL course to teach English. So I did that before I even left. I enrolled in a TOEFL course in Prague in the Czech Republic, so that's why I ended up staying in the Czech Republic for almost 2 months. The training lasts for 4 weeks, and then after I got my certification, it was time to find work. So the second smartest thing I done while I was staying in Europe was I thought about long-term for teaching, and I knew that I was hopping from country to country, every few months. So I said, okay, what can I do to make sure I continue to get an income, no matter where I'm at? So I said, you know what, I could teach English, but let me see if I could teach English online. So I had found a teaching platform online. I applied, I did my interview, I got accepted, and I have been teaching since then. So that gave me a big sigh of relief, because it allowed me, no matter what, or no matter where I went, as long as I had the internet and I already had my laptop, I could teach and I can make money. So that was a big relief for me, but it still was challenging in a way, because you have to put that, it's like owning your own business. So what I'm actually going to do is, on a separate video, I'm going to talk about my TOEFL experience, especially in Prague, because it was such a beautiful city, and the country itself, Czech Republic itself, is very beautiful. And also just talking about my TOEFL period, because I'm quite sure, a lot of people are still wondering how to even engage or how to even start something like a TOEFL program. So I will talk about all that stuff in a separate video, as well as my online teaching. Okay, so that's how I got my income. But there's plenty of ways to get income. I saw people do online marketing, people run their own business, like even if it's freelance online. The key is to find something, if possible, if you really want to travel extensively and not have to stay stationary for a job, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to find an online job. So another thing is too, when it comes to traveling, I traveled on a budget, so I had to be very strategic on the countries that I decided to stay at. So yes, while I traveled and visited like Western Europe, while I might have went to other countries that are kind of expensive, I personally decided, I had told myself before I even left, I need to stay in countries where my dollar is going to go far. So that's why I chose Czech Republic rather than staying in Western Europe. That's why I chose Vietnam. That's why I went to South Africa, and South Africa was actually the most expensive out of the 4 countries I stayed in. And also that's why I chose Medellin, Colombia. So that's also a very strategic thing. If you find a place and you're like, let me see if I could settle here for at least a few months or however long, but make sure my dollar goes far, you can have a better quality of life for less money, less US dollars at least. So that's that. As well as flights go, I booked a lot of one-way flights, but I just wanted to give you some advisement. I had a credit card, a travel credit card, and I still have it, that allowed me points. So there was, for the most part, I actually used my credit card to book a lot of my flights, and of course paid it back, but also was able to accumulate points so I could, you know, get some of those flights for based off of my points instead of me spending money. So that's another strategy. The thing is, when you travel, especially if you're going to travel the world, I really suggest you do your research, do your Googles. Why? Because there's so many things that you might not anticipate popping up that will pop up. Two big things, return flights as well as visas. So let's get into both of those. With visas, the US passport goes quite far. However, there are still a few countries that we need visas for. So out of all the countries I had listed that I've been to, I'm not sure if I told you guys I went to Australia, but I went to Australia. I needed a visa in Egypt. I needed a visa in Myanmar. I needed a visa in Cambodia. I needed a visa to enter Australia. And I'm missing one, but I am forgetting it right now. But at least those 4 I needed visas for. I remember for a fact. I really want to say it's 5, but I'm missing the country. But and I think I said Vietnam, but if not Vietnam, I definitely needed a visa for Vietnam. So it's best to do your Googles, because the last thing that you want is to pop up at a country. You already got on your flight, you already paid the money, you already reserved your accommodation, you might have even booked, you know, other things, and then you get to that country and that country said, where's your visa? And then you don't have a visa. And some countries do visa on arrival. It's also known as VOA, but other countries you have to apply for it in advance before you could even enter the country. Some airlines will do their due diligence and check to make sure you got the visa before even allowing you on the flight, but others don't, and I've heard horror stories. So just make sure you do your research on the country that you're going to, or the countries you plan on going to, and make sure you don't need a visa, and if you do, what's the requirements, and see if you can fulfill those requirements before you get to the country, because they will not let you in. They don't care how bad you cry, they don't care how much you sob, they don't care about your pity party story. They're gonna be like, go home. So that's just kind of how it is. I actually got stuck in Thailand when I was trying to enter Vietnam for that reason. I knew that they had a visa on arrival, but I needed to get a letter approved by the Vietnamese, like either the embassy or the consulate, which I did not have. So I had to wait, pay for it to get rushed, and then I was able to enter Vietnam. So that took like 1 extra day, but also a lot of money that I could have avoided spending. So just be careful with that. Another thing is too, there might be countries that you don't need visas for. However, they might require you to have a return flight. And before they will let you in the country, they will ask you at customs to show proof that you have a return flight. So another thing, for example, when I went to London, now I didn't need a visa to enter London, not on my US passport. However, thank God I researched and found out that a lot of the airports at London in their customs, they ask you, or for immigration shall I say, they ask you to show proof that you are getting the hell back out of their country. You're only coming for as long as you're coming. They ask you why you're coming. So I had to make sure I produced proof that I was returning and getting the hell out their country. Otherwise, they weren't even going to let me in. Again, they don't care how long you're going to be there. They don't care how much money you spent. They don't give a shit. So they're just like, that's not a problem. Okay, so that and Myanmar also had to show proof that I was leaving their country. So just be careful of those. As far as my favorite country, that's another big question that people ask me. For my favorite country, it's kind of hard to say. There was not one country that I didn't enjoy, and there's not one country that I said I won't ever go to again. I would say for each continent, like in Europe, it would be a tie between Portugal and Iceland. I love Iceland, go to Iceland, but Iceland is expensive as, so just have your money up, like have your money up. As far as Asia goes, my favorite country was Vietnam, but a really close second is Myanmar. Myanmar, what I loved about them is that it's still not as touched, and it doesn't have as high of tourism as a lot of the other Southeast Asian countries have. So also Vietnam, a lot of people surprisingly still have this stigma of Vietnam. I remember when I said I was moving to Vietnam, people were like, Vietnam? Ew. I'm like, what's wrong with Vietnam? Because everyone always would say, go to Thailand, go to Thailand, go to Thailand. I'm like, no, I want to go somewhere else. You know, I'm gonna visit Thailand, but I want to go live somewhere else that other people aren't there like that. So I chose Vietnam, which is amazing. What I like about Myanmar is, you know, you get to really get a very authentic experience of what their country is. And they have a city called Bagan that I went to, where there's like, I think they said there's over 1,000 temples, and I was able to like visit a lot of the temples, even sit on some of the temples and watch the sunrise, the sunset, which is gorgeous. You would see in the mornings during the sunrise, like people on the parachutes, and you know, like the pictures just look majestic. It's amazing. I really, really liked it. Of course, I enjoyed Australia, but this is gonna sound real corny, but with me, all I cared about with Australia is seeing kangaroos, seeing wombats, and seeing the Tasmanian devil. And I got to see all of them, so I was happy. I didn't care about nothing else. I was just like, I just want to see these 3 animals. So I was able to see it. South Africa, out of Africa, I've only been to 3 countries, but my favorite thus far is South Africa, and it's for obvious reasons. It just the country has so much to offer. The people in Cape Town now, I don't know. I can't really get with them like that. But you know, Cape Town, the city itself, is like one of the most, if not the most beautiful city I've ever been to. But the people, nah. The people, I could do without them. But you know, I had some culture shock out there, some differences out there, but it's all a good learning experience. But I still, anytime I go to South Africa, my trip won't be complete if I didn't go to Cape Town, despite the people. But Joburg is vibes, 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 vibes. The food is delicious too. And out of South America, I really enjoyed Colombia. I got robbed in Colombia. You know, I sure did. And I'm gonna talk about that in a different video, but I got robbed in Colombia, but I still had a good time. I stayed even after I got robbed. I even came back to the country. I really, really enjoyed Colombia. And my favorite country in South America would be Peru, at least from where I've been thus far. My favorite country in Central America where I've been thus far would be Costa Rica. So talk about that. As far as food, I'm a foodie. You give me some food, I'm gonna eat it. I liked all the food. Well, there were some cuisines that I could have done without, but it was still okay. I like all the food. So that's that. 3 more things. When it comes to vaccinations, a lot of people ask me like, oh, don't you need vaccination to enter this country, that country, this country? All the countries I've been to, the only time I needed to get any sort of vaccination was Costa Rica. They required, because I had been to South America, they required me to have a yellow fever shot, which I got for free in Peru. No, Ecuador. I got for free in Ecuador. So the yellow fever shot actually costs quite a bit of money out here in the States. So if you're overseas, or if you're not in a rush, you know, see if they offer it for much cheaper overseas. That's all I'm trying to say. As far as also with health, I went to get some dental work done in Vietnam. It was amazing, and it was dirt cheap. Of course, I didn't have like any insurance in Vietnam, so I had to pay out of pocket. And you know, I'm very satisfied with their work. A lot of people go to Thailand for dental work. A lot of people go to South America, in particular, like Colombia, or they might even go to Central America, like Mexico, and they'll get like cosmetic procedures done. Just do your research and make sure the people the physicians and the medical team that you're going to is legit. Also, it's just very, very recommended that you get recommendations from other people that's actually been there, done that, rather than you taking a gamble and doing research, and you like, oh, it looks good, so I'm just gonna go try to really do a thorough research before you do any stuff like that. When it comes to health insurance, I cannot recommend enough. Get health insurance. Get global health insurance. It helps, and you just never know when you need it. There's a lot of countries out here that will not do any work on you. They don't give a damn if you got shot. They don't give a damn if you're dying. They don't give a shit if you're taking your last breath. They will be like, where's the money? And if you don't have it, they be like, sorry. So, you know, not all countries, but there's quite a few. But why put yourself in that predicament, or why risk that if you don't have to? Now, the thing with global health insurance is expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't have health insurance, and I was just really praying, you know, that everything was okay. I was trying to get health insurance, but it was just so expensive. However, there was a guy that I knew in Vietnam. He also didn't have health insurance. He got in a terrible motorbike accident, and he was like in like in one of the city hospitals, and they weren't even going to let him go until he coughed up some money, and you know, his family had to come and, you know, help him out. So I've seen it up close. So my best recommendation is just find a way to incorporate health insurance into your budget. The last two things I want to talk about is backpacking versus traveling. So traveling with like luggage. So I actually travel with one large luggage, and then I had a backpack, and I went throughout the world up until from August 2016 to August 2017 with that. And then in September, when I went back to South America, I had a backpack. So I've done both. I personally, if I had to do it again, I probably would just backpack it. The reason why is because half the shit that you packing in your luggage, you don't need. You think you need it, you not even gonna touch it. There was things in my luggage that I did not touch the whole damn year. So I would just do backpacking, because you could always buy what you need and just take your bare necessities, like your bare clothes, like the clothes that you know you're gonna wear, anything else that you know that you'll need, and then everything else that becomes secondary or optional, you could buy if you need it wherever you're at. And then the last thing I wanted to say is, a lot of people ask me, would I do it again? I absolutely would. I'm actually trying to make another opportunity for me to do it again. I don't know when that will be, but you know, I say traveling around the world changed my life. Now it didn't change my life like a lot of people say. A lot of people are like, oh, you'll travel the world and it'll just change your life. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, there's a lot of lessons that you will learn, but you won't understand until you get put in certain situations, or you get approached with certain situations, and then you're like, oh, that's why I went through this, or that's why I saw this, or that's why, you know, I did this, or whatever it is. So I absolutely would, especially just how much I loved it. Like, I was so happy. I was, for the most part, stress-free. And I just had a chance to learn so much, and whether the lesson was then or even just later on down the line. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my journey. I know this is a long video, I apologize, but I was just trying to answer as many things as I can. If you have any questions, like, please go ahead and drop your comments in the or drop your questions in the comment box below. You could always reach out to me via email. My email is tamara@loverofshades.com. You could check me out on my blog, which is loverofshades.com, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm back in the States now since October 2017. I'm getting back into recording my YouTube channels. Oh yes, that's one more thing I forgot to tell you guys. It is hard as hell to record videos while you are traveling overseas, especially if you are jumping from country to country to country. It is hard. I have my equipment. I couldn't bring everything, but I had like mini equipment for travel. It is hard, especially when you're recording traveling videos. That's not as bad, but when you're trying to record beauty videos, lighting matters, like your products matter. There was a lot of countries that I were in where they didn't really sell products made for me. I'm going to talk about that in other videos, but it is hard. So it is hard. So if you're interested in blogging or vlogging while you're traveling, just be aware of what it is that you're trying to do and find out what equipment you need and find out the bare necessities to do it. Because like for someone like me, I figured I took my camera, I took some lighting, not big lighting, like lighting for travel size, and I'm just like, okay, and I took my makeup, so I'm like, okay, when I'm traveling I could just record my videos. No, I can't tell you how many videos I made while I was overseas that I had to like throw out because they just look like shit. And then I even took some videos off of my YouTube channel that I had recorded while I was overseas because I'm just like, I look fucking terrible. So just keep that in mind, and if you have any questions about blogging or vlogging while you are traveling, you can always reach out to me and I will respond to you. So that's about it. Again, if you have any questions or any further questions, go ahead and drop it in the comment box below. I will again put the description of all the countries that I've been to. I'm trying my best to actually put like small guides or like small tips and insight for traveling to these countries on my blog. So just please give me time, and in the meantime, just follow me on social media, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, but you can find me on Facebook at Loverofshades. I have a Facebook page, and you can also find me on Instagram, which is the handle Loverofshades. So that's about it, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry again for the length, but it's a lot to cover, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, God bless, see you later, bye.